Good morning, everybody. I hope all of you are doing good. You might remember that in our last alternative English class, we had studied the first part of the chapter, The Gift of the Magi. I'm sure you remember what we had studied. If you have followed my previous lecture, you should be able to answer these questions. What are these questions? What was Della's prized possession? Can you answer this question? What was Della's prized possession? You remember I told you that Jim and Della had two very prized possessions. So what was Della's prized possession? If you are watching this video, you can comment on the comment box with your answers so that we know whether you have got the answer or not. So if you participate with us during these classes, this class is, by the way, coming to you live. So if you comment on the comment section below, you can also enjoy the class and we can have an interaction. I will try and see whether I can connect to you right away so that I can see see how you are following the class. So there we go. I'll just send off my phone to I hope you can see it all. So if you're watching this class, please pay attention to these questions. The first question, what was Della's prized possession? Let me see who is the first one who is going to answer. You see, I've got the phone on. I can see your activity here. So it would be very nice if you have the answer. You can answer in the comment section directly. So the second question is, for how much did Della sell her hair? If you are watching this video, please answer in the comment box. Please answer in the comment box so that I know that you are following the classes. Do you know the answers? Are you having any technical difficulties in answering the questions in the live session? If you are having any technical difficulties while answering in the live session, you can contact the number that we have given you of the office. You can contact that number, call the number up immediately and resolve your problem. So if you are watching this video, you can comment here with the answers. These are the answers based on previous days classes. All right. Remember the first lecture on the gift of the Magi? I told you who are the Magi. Remember the three wise men who went with gifts for infant Jesus Christ. They were the Magi. And in this chapter we are studying the story of Jim and Della. Remember? So Jim and Della are husband and wife. I told you all those things. And from that part, this is the first question. What was Della's prized possession? Second question is, for how much did Della sell her hair? The third question is, why was Della sad? Remember when the story started, Della was very sad. Why was Della sad? Do you remember? And the fourth question, how much money had Della saved? These are the four questions which you will be able to answer if you have followed the previous day's classes. If you have followed the previous day's class properly, then you should be able to answer these questions. So what I will do now is I will move to the second part of today's of this chapter and take you through more into the story. So I'm waiting for your response. Meanwhile, I'm assuming that you have followed the previous class. If you have not watched the previous class, after this session, please go back and watch the previous class. Right? This is a very important chapter of your course. So let us start with the second part of the lecture today. So you remember, Jim and Della are husband and wife. They live in a very modest New York flat. And Della, for some reason, when the story opens, Della is counting some money, and she counted it again and again. She's counting the money. How much money is she counting? She's counting $1.87. $1.87. This is the money she has in her hand, and she's counting it repeatedly. and she's very sad. Why is she sad? She's sad precisely because of this. She's sad because tomorrow is Christmas and she wants to give a gift to her husband Jim. But to buy a gift you need money, and she has got just $1.87 in her hand, no more money with her. And this money also, how has she got it? This money she has got it by haggling with the vegetable seller, and whenever she went to buy provisions, that is from the market, when you buy things, vegetables, fruits and anything from the grocer's shop, when you buy all these things, what do? These are called provisions. So when you while buying the provisions, she has bargained very hard with the sellers and managed to get $1.87. Now what gift should he give to her husband? Now, and how should she give the gift? She has no money, and this is why she's sad. So why is Della sad? Della is sad because the next day is Christmas and she does not have enough money in her hand to buy her husband Jim a worthwhile gift. Right? She's sad, Della is sad because the next day is Christmas and she does not have enough money in her hand to buy her husband Jim a worthwhile gift. Clear? Alright. So I told you that Jim and Della have two things. Though they are not very rich, they are poor, but there are two things with them which they are very proud of. One is Della's long hair, long and beautiful hair that Della has got, and the other is Jim's gold watch. Please remember, these are very important points of this chapter. The two gifts that these two people, the two prized possessions. You understand what is possession? This is my mobile phone, this is my possession. This is my phone, so it is my possession. Possession means something that you own, something that you own. So they have something that they own. One is Della's long hair and one is Jim's gold watch. So the questions that I asked you, what was Della's prized possession? Della's prized possession was her long hair. Correct? Alright. So they have these two things with them. Though they are very poor, but they have these two things and they are very proud of these two things that they have. Remember, Della is sad. She does not have money to buy gift. Now what does she do? While she was walking by a glass, suddenly she can see her hair and she gets an idea. And what is the idea? Immediately she goes to Madame Sofronie. Madame Sofronie is a person who deals in hair. Deals in, you know what is the meaning of deals in? The meaning of the phrase deal, to deal in, means to do business. To do business or to do business in. But as you can call in Bengali, ব্যবসা করা. কিসের ব্যবসা? ওনার কিসের ব্যবসা? She deals in hair. She buys and sells hair. Now you might ask me, what does she need? Why does she have to buy hair? Hair is bought for various reasons. As you know, some people wear wigs, artificial, like a cap, artificial hair. So some people wear wigs. To make wigs you will need hair, and there are other purposes of hair. So this lady, Madame Sofronie, she buys hair and Della runs to her. When she runs there, she sells her beautiful hair. Imagine the sacrifice. She sells her beautiful hair for $20. She sells her beautiful hair for how much? $20. For how much did Della sell her hair? The answer is Della sold her hair for $20. Is that clear? Now she sold her hair for $20 and in her hand she had saved $1.87, remember. So now she has got $20 and $1.87 she had in her hand from before. So she has got a total of $21.87 right now in her hands. Clear? And she goes and buys Jim a gift. Now what gift does she buy for Jim? What do you think Della will buy? Any idea what Della will buy? So Della decides to go and buy Jim a platinum fob chain for Jim's watch. This is Della's gift for gift. So what is Della's gift for Jim? Della's gift for Jim is a platinum fob chain for his. Della had seen that Jim's leather belt was in tatters. Alright, it was very old, it was worn out, he needed a chain for his watch, and she had seen he was very shy in taking out the watch from his pocket because, and remember, it's not a wrist watch, it is a pocket watch. So at times he was very shy of taking out his watch in front of people because the belt was worn out, it was old, it was in tatters. So she decides to what? She decides to buy Jim a new platinum chain so that Jim can proudly take out his watch, and that is why she brought, this is her gift for Jim. The previous day I asked you, what is the when somebody gives you a gift, how do you measure the quality of the gift? How do you judge whether a gift is good or bad? How do you judge it? Now, you see, sometimes we judge a gift on the basis of its brand, some gift on the basis of its price. But do you know what is the quality of a good gift? The quality of a gift is the sacrifice that has gone into getting the gift. Suppose I have to give you a gift. What is the amount of sacrifice the gift for you? That is the most important thing. Look at the sacrifice that in giving that gift. She has just one real. This poor lady does not have a lot of money. This poor lady does not have a grand house to live in. This poor lady does not have a car. But this poor lady has one thing. What is that? Such a thing, her long hair. And she does not think twice to sell her hair to get a gift for her husband. Imagine the sacrifice made for it. And what gift does she buy? She also knows that just as she is proud of her hair, or she has this possession called her hair, Jim also has got a wonderful possession. It is his gold watch, and she buys a gift that Jim can use with the gold watch. That is going to make him very happy, and gift a gold watch for Jim. But now imagine this lady who had got long hair has cut her hair. She had long hair and she has cut her hair. So when the husband will come home, he will suddenly see this woman whom he has always seen with the long and beautiful hair has cut her hair short. So when Della comes home, she is very anxious. Alright, she's very anxious. She's nervous. She's afraid. Why? Because she has bought the gift, okay. But suppose Jim comes home and then he gets angry at her for cutting her hair then. So she gets very anxious. She gets very, very anxious. She gets very nervous. She gets very afraid. And she makes silent prayers. She prays that Jim may not be angry at her upon seeing that she has cut her hair. So why was Della anxious or afraid? Della was anxious or afraid when she returned home because she thought, she was apprehending that Jim would She was what? Apprehending. That is, assuming from before. She is apprehending that when Jim would come home, he might get angry at Della for having cut her hair so short. Having cut her beautiful hair so short. Right? Now what happens when Jim really comes home? So Jim comes home. After some time, Jim comes home. When Jim comes home and she opens the door and Jim looks at her and sees that her hair is cut short, what do you think Jim will do? Do you know what Jim does? Jim just looks at her. He just looks at her. He is not angry. He does not burst out at her. What have you done? He just looks at her dumbfounded. He has no words. He's shocked. He looks at her. Now, sometimes we are afraid of many things. Suppose you have got less marks in your unit test and you are afraid that your father will scold you or maybe slap you. Nowadays, they don't slap, but sometimes they do for our good. So maybe he will scold me. My father might scold me. You are anxious. But that is okay. If you go home and show him, this is my result, you were expecting the slap and the slap falls on your cheek. Or you are expecting a reprimand, that is a scolding, and that befalls you. You are prepared for it. But what will you do if your father does nothing? He just looks at you. You are not prepared for this reaction. And when you are not prepared for this reaction and somebody gives you a reaction for which you are not prepared, that is even more difficult than what you were afraid of. Della expected that Jim would get angry. Della expected that Jim might say, "What have you done to yourself? You look so ugly." But here what happens? Jim does nothing. He just looks at her, dumbfounded. He looks at her dumbfounded, shocked. So what does Della do? She goes to Jim and says, "Please Jim, don't look at me like that. Whatever I have done," what has she done? Cut her hair. "Whatever I have done, I've done it for you." And she, what does she do? She gives Jim the gift that she has bought. She tells him, "I cut my hair to give you this gift for tomorrow is Christmas. Don't be sad. Let us be happy. I've done it for our happiness." Jim flops down on the chair. He just drops down on the chair. And he says, "Della, did you cut your hair?" He says, "Yes, I did cut my hair and cut my hair for you to get you the gift." So he says, "Look, Della, I'm not angry because you cut your hair. Please follow this point. I'm not angry because you cut your hair. And don't ever think that just because you cut your hair or you change your shampoo, I love you a little less." Then he throws a packet out and says, "If you open this packet, you will understand why you had me going a few moments ago." So he says, he throws her a packet and says, "If you open this packet, you will understand why I behaved with you the way I behaved a few moments ago." Do you understand the point? He says that don't think that I'm angry and I'm giving you this reaction. You open this packet and you will understand why I give you this reaction. So Della opened a packet that Jim gave her. And do you know what was inside the packet? Inside the packet were a set of tortoise shell combs. Tortoise shell combs. Inside the packet, Jim has got a packet. Jim also has come home with a Christmas gift and he gives that gift to her. Open that packet, you will understand why I am so shocked. It was a tortoise shell combs. These combs are made of tortoise shell and Della always wanted to have them. But she did not have the amount of money that was necessary for buying these shell combs. And he says, now I hope you can also understand. He has got these combs for Della's hair. And where is Della's hair? Della has cut her hair to buy Jim the watch. Has cut her hair to buy Jim the chain for his watch. And Jim says, to get you these combs, I sold my watch. To get you these combs, I sold my watch. So here is Della, who sells her hair to get gift for her husband Jim. And here is Jim, who sold his watch to get a set of gifts for his wife. Now, he says that at this moment, these gifts are too good to be used at the moment. Jim says that the gifts are too good to use at the moment. All right. Now, why does Jim say that? So we have almost reached the last part of this lecture. So Jim says our gifts are too good to use at the moment. Why does he say this? Because Della has got, what is Della's gift? Della's gift is the chain for Jim's watch, and Jim's gift is the set of combs. Now, to use the chain, you need the watch. He has sold the watch. To use the combs, you need the hair. She has sold her hair. So the author says that here, these two young children, these two young people, they are so silly, they are so simple. Silly, he calls them silly lovingly, they are not silly. Alright, these two simple young people who have sacrificed their prized possession without a thought to make the other happy on Christmas. They have made the supreme sacrifice, and they are the true Magi. Before I wrap up this lecture, let me tell you a few points that you need to remember. First, these questions, of course, you need to answer. Then, then the next set of questions. What was Jim's gift for his wife? All right. Why does Jim say that their gifts are too good to use at present? So these are the 6 questions you should be able to answer after going through these 2 video lectures. The first part of the lecture, you will find it in the college channel, YouTube channel. The first part is there. You search and go through it again. And after you do this, please write the questions also. But after you can answer these questions, please email these questions to my email ID zahid.ecn@gmail.com. So please send in your answers to this email address. Please remember that owing to the current COVID crisis, we are not being able to hold physical classes for you. Please also remember that you are in class 12. If you don't make use, this is the only way in which we can reach you out at this moment of crisis. So if you do not follow the classes, if you don't want to write these answers, nobody can help you. Remember that if you don't study, somebody else is studying. Lakhs others are studying. If you don't study, and if you spoil your results, remember lakhs others are not spoiling their future, they are studying. And if you dream of doing anything in your life and you are not working right now, remember, if you are not working now, lakhs others in your state are working, and they will reach their aim and their dream. Please remember that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I know the situation is tough, but at this moment, if you are not tough and if you don't make the best use of the resources that you are getting, you will destroy your future. If you have got any problems regarding this chapter, you can mail your doubts to me on this email address. Once again, my email ID is Zahir, which is my name, ZAHIR, Zahir.ecn@gmail.com. Please send in your answers. I'll be waiting for them. Thank you very much.